Hello friends, today we will discuss about the subject emerging trends in management. The recent peculiarities that have led to the difference in management styles and approaches is discussed here. This subject is divided into three modules: supply chain management, logistics management, and total quality management. Module 1: Supply chain management. A conceptual understanding of what a supply chain is and the various issues that must be considered when designing, planning, and operating a supply chain, besides tracing its historical background, is discussed in this module. The goal of a supply chain and the significance of a supply chain decision for the success of the firm, as well as the different emphasis and the variety of supply chain issues and decisions that companies need to consider, the strategic planning and operational levels are also discussed in this module. A supply chain consists of all parties involved, directly or indirectly, in fulfilling a customer request. The supply chain includes not only the manufacturer and supplier, but also transporters, warehouses, retailers, and even customers themselves. Within each organization, such as a manufacturer, the supply chain includes all functions involved in receiving and filling a request. These functions include but are not limited to new product development, marketing operations, distribution, finance, and customer service. A supply chain is dynamic and involves constant flow of information, product, and funds among different stages. A typical supply chain may involve a variety of stages, including customers, retailers, wholesalers, distributors, manufacturers, and suppliers. Even though the term supply chain implies that only one player is involved at each stage, most supply chains are actually networks where each stage receives product from several suppliers and sends output to several customers. It may be more accurate to use the term supply network or supply web to describe the structure of the most supply chain. Supply chain management, as we understand it today, represents the confluence of at least three main streams of knowledge and practical experience of the business world, spanning for almost 60 years. The fusion of these streams into one powerful movement, that is supply chain management, that is sweeping across the present-day industrial world, has been brought about by the intense competition characteristics of contemporary markets. It is therefore appropriate that a discussion on the supply chain management is preceded by a brief understanding of its contributing disciplines. These streams include business processes and managerial practices which have been involved somewhat unconnectedly, if not entirely independently, in the fields of operation management, industrial engineering, and physical distribution. The three principal streams adopted for supply chain management is sourcing, procurement and supply management, materials management, and logistics and distribution. Commonly, though quite mistakenly, referred to as supply chain management, sourcing, procurement, and supply management, the functions arise in the area of purchasing. These areas came to occupy a predominant position in business because of their impact on cash flow and contribution towards company profitability. Businessmen realized that efforts required to increase profits through increasing sales were far greater than those involved in generating equivalent returns through a reduction in the procurement prices. Major purchases came to be handled by the top management, who in turn depended on purchase specialists for advices. And this concept of economic buying seen to be a strategic function with a major contribution to the bottom line. And the responsibilities of the purchase function, however, ended with the procurement, and a more mundane function of materials management took over. Thus, the purchase function, as a set of activities, functions and processes concerned with economic procurement and the inflow of inputs into the enterprise. It is also an effective control over the flow funds of the company. Another principle is the materials management. Classical materials management initially included the functions of forecasting, inventory management, stores management, warehousing, stock keeping, and scheduling. Then it came to include production planning and production control, and evolved into extended materials management. With the subsequent inclusion of order processing in its fold, it can be known as integrated material management. In relation to supply chain management, materials management may be regarded as a flow of material into, through, and out of an enterprise, which adds value for customers, both internal and external, to the organization. And the final principle is the logistics and distribution. The term was derived originally from military parlance, where it covered all functions related to the movement and maintenance of armies. The logistics function in its business application came to be recognized as a placement of goods in relation to time and place to provide improved customer service. The objective of every supply chain should be to maximize the net value generated. The net value a supply chain generates is the difference between what the value of the final product is to the customer and the cost the entire supply chain incurs in filling the customer's request. The value of the final product may vary from each customer and can be estimated by the maximum amount the customer is willing to pay for it. The difference between the value of the product and its price remains with the customer as a consumer surplus. The rest of the supply chain surplus becomes supply chain profitability, the difference between the revenue generated from the customer and the overall cost across the supply chain. There is a close connection with the design and management of supply chain flows, that is, product information and funds, and the success of a supply chain. A supply chain is a sequence of processes and flows that take place within and between different stages and combine to fill a customer need for a product. There are two ways to view the processes performed in a supply chain: cyclical view and push or pull view. The process in a supply chain are divided into a series of cycles, each performed at the interface between two successive stages of the supply chain as per cyclical view. And the push or pull view, the processes in a supply chain are divided into two categories depending on whether they are executed in response to a customer order or in anticipation of customer orders. Push or the pull process are anticipated by a customer order, whereas push process are initiated and performed in anticipation of customer orders. Discussing more about the cyclical view of supply chain process, the supply chain process is broken down into 4 process cycles: customer order cycle, replenishment cycle, manufacturing cycle, procurement cycle. Each cycle occurs at the interface between two successive stages of the supply chain. Not every supply chain will have all the 4 cycles clearly separated. For example, a grocery supply chain in which a retailer stocks finished goods inventories and places replenishment order with a distributor is likely to have all four cycles separately, whereas Dell, in contrast, bypasses the retailer and distributor when it sells or serves directly to the customers. Within each cycle, the goal of the buyer is to ensure product availability of its customers and to achieve economies of scale in ordering. The supplier attempts to forecast buyer orders and reduce the cost of receiving the order. The supplier then works to fill the order on time and improve efficiency and accuracy of the order fulfillment process. The buyer then works to reduce the cost of the receiving process. The reverse flows are managed to reduce cost and meet environmental objectives. In case of push-pull view of supply chain process, all processes in a supply chain fall into one of the two categories depending on the timing of their execution relative to end customer demand. With pull processes, execution is initiated in a response to a customer order. With push process, execution is initiated in anticipation of customer order based on a forecast. Pull process may also be referred to as reactive process because they react to customer demand. Push process may also be referred to as speculative process because they respond to speculated rather than the actual demand. The push-pull boundary is a supply chain separates push process because customer demand is not yet known. The pull process operates in a predictable environment where customer demand is known. They are, however, often constrained by inventory and capacity decisions that were made in the push phase. Another area that widely needs to be discussed in supply chain management is customer relationship management. Customer relationship management refers to all strategies, techniques, tools, and technologies used by the enterprise for developing, retaining, and acquiring customers. It is actually a teamwork with key accounts to improve the process and eliminate the demand variability and to avoid the non-value added activities. The performance reports are designed to measure the profitability of individual customers as well as the firm's financial impact on those customers. Relying on these facts, customer relationship management plays a key role in supply chain management. Another aspect to be discussed is the customer service management. Customer service management is the supply chain management process that represents the firm's face to the customer. The main goal of this management or this aspect is to provide a single source of customer information that is like product availability, the shipping dates or order status, etc. So this customer service management requires a real-time system that responds to the customer's inquiries and facilitates the order placement so that the customers feel they are the supply chain is much reliable and there leads to a bond or customer loyalty from the part of the customer towards the organization. Supply chain planning. The process of anticipating the demand and planning materials and components of supply chain management or to supply for the demand along with the production, marketing, distribution and sales is the concept supply chain planning. In other words, it ensures that all the parts of the organization from materials purchasing till the delivery, everything goes together and they are connected to each other. Another concept which we should rely or which is closely related to supply chain planning is the aggregate planning. It is a process by which a company determines planned levels of capacity, production, subcontracting, inventory, stockouts, and even pricing over a specified time horizon to maximize profit. So, aggregate planning, as the name suggests, solves problems involving aggregate decisions such as the total production level in a plant for a given month, but it does so without determining the quantity of each individual stock keeping unit. To be effective, aggregate planning requires inputs from all stages of the supply chain, and its results have a tremendous impact on supply chain performance. To sum up, the goal of a supply chain should be to grow overall supply chain surplus. Supply chain surplus is the difference between the value generated for the customer and the total cost incurred across all the stages of the supply chain. A focus on the supply chain surplus increases the size of the overall pie for all members of the supply chain. Supply chain decisions have a large impact on the success or failure of each firm because they significantly influence both the revenue generated and the cost incurred. Successful supply chains manage flows of product, information, and funds to provide a high level of product availability to the customer while keeping cost low. I hope the concept is understood. Thank you. Module 2, Logistics Management. There is a wide acceptance and awareness of logistics in India today. Even a small tempo truck from a nearby stand has names such as ABC Logistics Limited written boldly on its side. Today, logistics touches every moment of our life. Unlike other developed countries that depend on processed and frozen food, Indians continue to enjoy the taste of fresh food, especially vegetables and milk, though this is partly attributable to the lack of processing facilities and cold chain storage units, and also an abundance of micro entrepreneurs who make doorstep delivery of fresh produce possible. We expect timely delivery of milk every morning so that we are not deprived of our refreshing cup of tea. In fact, there is a lot of logistics action involved in making the daily delivery of milk an error-free process. Let's take a deeper look into the concept of logistics management. Imagine a day when your morning newspaper is not delivered to your doorstep, or when you are thirsty, your favorite cola is not available in any of the shops nearby. Similarly, imagine a company that assembles passenger cars is suddenly faced with a supply shortage of engines because the country from which the engines are imported has been struck by a massive earthquake. All these examples the interruption in the regular flow of material, products, etc., and can result in a significant disruption to day-to-day activities, not only for us but also for the organization and the nation as a whole. The common element underlying all the aforementioned situation is a function known as logistics. Logistics encompasses transportation, storage, coordination, and much more. In recent times, however, the term supply chain management has gained currency among most business organizations that have come to realize the importance of an integrated approach to managing the flow of material through successive links in the chain connecting the primary supplier to the ultimate customer. Success, it is widely assumed, is dependent on how successfully the supply chain of an organization are managed. As logistics is also contained or concerned with the flow and storage of material, one is faced with oft-repeated question as to whether logistics and supply chain management are the same or are different. Logistics is perhaps the most complex business function, fraught with challenges and surprises as it spans across organizations and geographies. Yet, logistics has a significant potential for creating value for the firm by strategically positioning its inventory when and where required. In fact, logistics accounts for a significant share of the cost of operations of a firm. Hence, any improvement achieved in the activities related to logistics function can contribute to cost savings. The activities involved in logistics management include inbound and outbound transportation management, fleet management, warehousing, materials and handling, order fulfillment, facility network, inventory management, supply or demand planning, and management of third-party logistics services providers. Logistics today plays a more integrated role in the functioning of an organization. So, considering the ever-widening role of logistics in today's business organization, the crucial activities of logistics is integrated in every aspect of the organizational activity. Business logistics is yet another important concept because it creates value. The value for customers and suppliers of the firm, and the value for the firm's stakeholders. Value in logistics is expressed in terms of time and place. To many firms throughout the world, logistics have become an increasingly important value-adding process for a number of reasons, because they can provide at a minimum the customer delivery on time, have a real-time process in the feedback of the customers, and they can initiate recent trends, creating value to the customer. Because logistics involves coordination and interaction with multiple members such as suppliers, manufacturers, and distribution channel partners to achieve the objectives of meeting the requirements of the customers, there are many factors that impact the efficiency and effectiveness of logistics. Logistics operations may be impacted by internal operational characteristics like the nature of the product that the logistics system handles. The operations can be impacted by external environmental factors such as government policies and the state of the infrastructure in the country. The primary objective of logistics management is to move the inventory in a supply chain effectively and efficiently to extend the desired level of customer service at least cost as done parallel with the waste management. Another objective of logistics management is the inventory reduction, that is to reduce the stock holding and overcosting of the inventory stock and the holding and running cost of the inventory. And another aspect is the freight economy, the least cost for freight with minimum product damages, providing the best of the service with the least waste management of the product damages, and the reliability and consistency and delivery performance. These are some of the objectives of logistics management which are crucial in the processing of the entire success of the organization. Talking about the elements of logistics management, it includes order processing, inventory management, warehousing, transportation, facilities, nature of products, facility locations, availability of infrastructure, government policies. All these are the basic elements of logistics management, which ultimately leads to the effectiveness and efficiency of supply chain of an organization, which ultimately concludes the best delivery for the customer at the right time or in demand. So the elements of logistics, each and every element involves great compassion to the entire processing of logistics management. Likewise, the nature of the product, it has a significant impact on the logistics because many of the decisions pertaining to the mode of transportation, nature of warehousing, requirements, packaging, and material handling, etc., have to take into consideration the attributes of the product. For example, perishable goods may require special provision for transportation storage, which include a temperature controlled environment because movement and during the movement and storage. Because of their shorter life, such products may also be required to be consumed within a short period of their production. Similarly, facility locations, the location of facilities in a logistics network can influence the levels of efficiency and responsiveness of a logistics network. Location decisions are therefore considered to be crucial for a firm to have a competitive advantage. However, facility location decisions are of a long-term nature and are difficult to manage with the fluctuations in the external market environment. Another aspect is the availability of infrastructure. Infrastructure is considered to be the backbone of the efficient logistics system and includes the quality of roads, rails, ports, airports, inland waterways, telecommunication facilities, etc. So all these play a significant role in the entire concentration of logistics management. Perhaps the distinction between logistics and supply chain can be understood from the definition of logistics proposed by the Council for Supply Chain Management Professionals as that part of supply chain management that plans, implements and controls the efficient, effective forward and reverse flow and storage of goods and services and related information between the point of origin and the point of consumption in order to meet customers' requirements. This definition clearly suggests that logistics is a part of supply chain management. Another observation is that logistics is essentially a planning orientation and framework that seeks to create a single plan for the flow of product and information through a business, while supply chain management builds upon this framework and seeks to achieve linkage and coordination between the process of other entities in the pipeline, that is suppliers, customers, and the organization itself. Therefore, the additional elements in supply chain management with respect to logistics include planning and management of all activities and coordination and collaboration with members in the entire chain and the integration of demand and supply along the chain. One can infer from the aforementioned definitions that both logistics and supply chain management are intimately related, with logistics perhaps being the nuts and bolt on which supply chain management framework rests. Therefore, for the understanding and managing supply chains, it is important that one develops an understanding of the elements of logistics in a competitive environment. A firm's success depends on the ability to meet the requirement of its customers, which translates into ensuring that the right product is available at the right place, at the right time, in the right quantity, and the right price. Logistics plays an important role in ensuring the achievement of these objectives of a firm. To have a better understanding of logistics, one may consider the various activities that are part of logistics management. Logistics, which had its origin in the military, is generally associated with transportation, warehousing, inventory management, people and supplies at the war front. One can see the success is dictated by the logistics ability of a country. Supply chain management, however, is an integrative function which is an addition to the logistics management activities, encompassing a coordination with the internal organizational functions such as marketing, finance, design, and information technology, as well as with entities that are external to the organization, such as the entities work in unison to achieve the objective of meeting the requirements of the customer. In India, industries, especially the traditional ones, used to consider functions such as manufacturing, transportation, and storage as discrete process. For example, transportation was considered as a function rather than as a means of achieving seamless logistics or as a seamless supply chain. While the purchase department looked after import clearance, the export department looked after export shipments. The transport department looked after outbound trucking, and the marketing department looked after the distribution warehouses. In-plant logistics came under manufacturing divisions. Each division operated as a silo with little or no integration. The boundary spanning nature of logistics is best conceptualized when it serves as an interface between the production and marketing, the two important functions within an organization. Both these functions cannot operate well without the integrative role by the logistics. The objectives of integrated logistics include inventory reduction, the reliable and consistent delivery of the performance, and having a quick response to the customer demand with minimum product damages and least cost freight maintenance. Logistics is used nowadays in many contexts. It is often used in the context of transporting men, material, and resources to get an event going. Many times when something does not happen as scheduled, we criticize the logistics has not been planned properly. In general, logistics do not refer to moving people by public transport. Today, however, an organized, regular, and scheduled private chartered movement like that of the agents from residential areas to all call centers or BPO centers is called people logistics. This concept has assumed importance as it becomes essential for the staff to commute to remote offices at odd times. Logistics function is a backbone of material transportation and information flow with respect to the materials in the system and helps connect players in the supply chain. The supply chain has additional functions like line sourcing upstream and transfer of job titles downstream between players till the products reach the final customer. This function is called distribution. I hope the concept of logistics management is much clearer now. Thank you. Module 3, Total Quality Management. Total quality management is an enhancement to the traditional way of doing business. It is a proven technique to guarantee survival in world-class competition. Only by changing the actions of management will the culture and actions of an entire organization be transformed. Total quality management is, for the most part, common sense. Now, let's take a deeper look into the concept total quality management. Analyzing the three words total quality management. Total, which means made up of the whole. Quality, which means degree of excellence a product or service provides. Management, which refers to act, art, or manner of handling, controlling, directing, etc. Therefore, total quality management is the art of managing the whole to achieve excellence. The golden rule is a simple but effective way to explain it. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Total quality management is defined as both a philosophy and a set of guiding principles that represent the foundation of a continuously improving organization. It is the application of quantitative methods and human resources to improve all the process within an organization and exceed customer needs now and in future. Total quality management integrates fundamental management techniques, existing improvement efforts, and technical tools under a disciplined approach. Total quality management is often assigned with efficiency and effectiveness. Now, what does efficiency and effectiveness mean? Efficiency
simply means whatever you produce or perform, it should be done in a perfect way. Whereas effectiveness means the degree of closeness of the achieved objective with the predetermined goal to examine the potency of the whole entity. In other words, effectiveness has a broader approach, which means the extent to which the actual results have been achieved to fulfill the desired outcome, that is, doing accurate things. When the expression quality is used, we usually think in terms of an excellent product or service that fulfills or exceeds our expectations. These expectations are based on the intended use and the selling price. For example, a customer expects a different performance from a plain steel washer than from a chrome-plated steel washer because they are different grade. When a product surpasses our expectations, we consider that a quality. Thus, it is somewhat of an intangible based on perception. The dimensions of quality includes performance, features, conformance, reliability, durability, service, response, aesthetics, reputation, etc. Customer satisfaction should not be viewed in a vacuum. For example, a customer may be satisfied with a product or service and therefore rate the product or service highly in a survey, and yet that same customer may buy another product or service. It is of little benefit to understand a customer's view about a product or service if the customer's views about competitors' product or service are not understood. The value customers place on one product compared to another may be a better indicator of customer loyalty. Customer loyalty may be or can be sustained only by maintaining a favorable comparison when compared with competitors. So, as mentioned, customer satisfaction is not a simple concept to understand or to measure. Now, who is the customer? There are two distinct types of customers, external and internal. An external customer can be defined in many ways, such as the one who uses a product or service, the one who purchases a product or service, or the one who influences the sale of products or services. And considering the external customer exists outside the organization and generally falls into three categories: current, prospective, and lost customers. Each category provides valuable customer satisfaction information for the organization. Every employee in the organization must know how their job enhances the total satisfaction of the external customer. Performance must be continually improved in order to retain existing customers and to gain new ones. An internal customer, on the other hand, is just as important as an external customer. Every function, whether it be engineering, order processing, or production, has an internal customer. Each receives a product or service and in exchange provides a product or service. Every person in a process is considered a customer of the preceding operation. Each worker's goal is to make sure that the quality meets the expectations of the next person. Each worker's goal is to make sure that the quality meets the expectation of the next person. When that happens throughout the manufacturing, sales, and distribution chain, the satisfaction of the external customer should be assured. All processes have outputs, which are used by internal and external customers, and inputs which are provided by internal or external suppliers. Each supplier performs work that produces some service or product that is used by another customer. One basic concept of total quality management is an unwavering focus on customers, both internal and external. Most employees know about the external customer or end user but may not think of other employees as internal customer of their output. Total quality management requires 6 basic concepts: a committed and involved management to provide long-term top to bottom organizational support, an unwavering focus on the customer both internally and externally, effective involvement and utilization of the entire workforce, continuous improvement of the business and production process, treating suppliers as partners, establish performance measures for the processes. So, speaking through the aspects of or the approaches of total quality management, the key to an effective total quality management program is its focus on the customer. An excellent place to start is by satisfying internal customers. We must always listen to the voice of the customer and emphasize design quality and defect prevention. Do it right the first time and every time, for customer satisfaction is the most important consideration. The purpose of total quality management is to provide a quality product or service to customers, which will in turn increase productivity and lower cost. With a higher quality product and lower price, competitive position in the marketplace will be enhanced. This series of events will allow the organization to achieve the objectives of profit and growth with greater ease. In addition, the workforce will have job security, which will create a satisfying place to work. Total quality management requires a cultural change. That is, its state for typical quality elements. This change is substantial and will not be accomplished in a short period of time. Small organizations will be able to make the transformation much faster than larger organizations. There must be a continual striving to improve all business and production processes. Quality improvement projects such as one-time delivery, order entry efficiency, billing error rate, customer satisfaction, cycle time, scrap reduction, and supplier management are good places to begin. Technical techniques such as SPC, benchmarking, quality function deployment, ISO 9000, and designed experiments are excellent for problem solving. Total quality management is an organization-wide challenge that is everyone's responsibility. All personnel must be trained in total quality management. The SPC or statistical process control and other appropriate quality improvement skills should be ensured so they can effectively participate on project teams, including internal customers, and for that matter internal suppliers on project teams is an excellent approach. People must come to work not only to do their jobs but also to think how to improve their job. People must be empowered at the lowest possible level to perform processes in an optimum manner. Total quality management involves total quality management planning. Each organization is unique in terms of the culture, management practices, and the processes used to create and deliver its products or services. Quality management strategy vary from organization to organization. So, a planning and implementing of total quality management or quality management strategy is one solution for every situation or workplace. Total quality management encompasses all aspects of business. Its key concepts are emphasis on management commitment, customer focus, involvement of all continuous improvement, treating suppliers as partners, and performance metrics. The philosophy of total quality management has evolved through the contribution of many quality gurus, including Sheward, Deming, Juran, Ishikawa, Crosby, and Takuji. The principles and tools laid down by these experts provide a solid foundation for the total quality management framework. The journey to total quality management starts when the management realizes the need. The need could be due to some external factors such as loss of market share or some internal factors such as loss of productivity. There are 9 different dimensions of quality. Marketing should identify the relative importance of these in developing new products and improving current products. There are several obstacles in implementing total quality management, the most important being the lack of management commitment. Sustained implementation of total quality management can result in benefits such as improvement in quality, productivity, reliability, market share, revenue, profits, and growth. I hope the concept of total quality management is well ensured through this class. Thank you.